All right, I am back with a Destiny Rising video. That's the first one of those. I certainly imagine I will be making more of these in the future, whenever that happens. Yesterday, we saw the official debut of Destiny Rising, the mobile game that we knew existed. We've known this for many years, if you've been paying attention. This has been in development by NetEase a really long time. NetEase made the investment in Bungie. They put in $100 million all the way back in 2018. And I don't know exactly when production started on this, but it was, the last few years. And just don't be confused. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with Destiny and Bungie, and this is not a Sony thing. Sony's not like, hey, Destiny, pivot to mobile. This is something that has been going on for a very long time. But now, we have the first actual information about it. There were some leaks a little while ago. I think I had some of those leaks. I don't remember. Destiny Bulletin had some, including the name. And now we can see what it's like, and there's going to be a lot to consider here. So this is essentially made entirely by NetEase. Bungie had very little to do with it other than, some loose guidelines. And I do fundamentally believe that NetEase, likes Destiny and wants to honor the franchise and stuff, but turning it into a free-to-play mobile game is probably not going to be what a lot of existing Destiny players want to see, if not the vast majority. The trailer was very cool. The trailer, I thought they did a good job. I think the game looks good, in terms of visually looks good. It's maybe early last-gen graphics, something like that. It is first-person or third-person, which that is certainly new. Obviously, third-person is not really just a comfort thing. Well, it could be, because everyone, plays Fortnite and whatever, but it's also so you can see the cosmetics you're buying. That's a big motivator. Destiny itself has not switched to that, thankfully, but that is one reason there. It looks good. The idea here that this is a post-Dark Age time, true Assembly of Guardians where there are no classes. I think that's a really interesting idea, actually, in the sense that you could do a lot more different things with the light rather than having, things relegated to specific classes. I think visually you could do a lot more with that too, because, every hunter has a cloak and every Titan has a mark and every warlock wears a dress and all of this stuff. I think there's more freedom there, and this is a hero shooter. We saw, I think there's 3 or 4 main heroes they were showing off, 5 or 6. The only one we recognize for sure is young Ikora. I thought I saw Shaxx briefly in that trailer, part of his body. I don't know. There is a female speaker who I don't think will be a playable character, and she says the line that something like, "This is our destiny," and I'm like, this is the most mobile game thing I've ever heard. I wonder if Bungie knew they were going to say that. There's a guy who's wearing Iron Banner stuff, who has a wolf helmet. Maybe that's Saladin. I don't know. The ages of all the Destiny people are sort of all over the place, so it's a little hard to keep track. There is a woman with an eye patch who has a giant cannon thing, a type of weapon that we do not have in Destiny, unless they're trying to say it's a Grand Overture type thing. We have a demon-looking Exo, which actually looks pretty awesome. I like that design. They have cabled dreads coming out their head. And then there, of course, is the goth girl who everyone is focused on, because she just really does not seem to match the aesthetic of what we normally think of from Destiny. She's got, the black lipstick, the black and white hair. If anything, she looks like a hunter, but I don't think she is a hunter. I think she's the warlock who has the void scythe, which, dark warlock with a scythe is, a very goth girl thing to do, I guess. And obviously, since this is a hero game, they're going to add more stuff over time. They talk about how there is a campaign. There are campaign missions. There are 3-player strikes. There are 6-player raids. One thing I heard about this is one of the big obstacles to making Destiny mobile game was figuring out how to do stuff like strikes and raids that are shorter, because mobile games are almost entirely focused on very brief sessions. You play a game of Marvel Snap or whatever, and just those are what, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute games. or even something like Pokemon Go, like you're wandering around kind of as much or as little as you want. Whereas like a Destiny Strike or a raid or whatever, you're committed for X amount of time. And if you're playing in your commute or whatever, like you get the idea here, where like a 15-minute strike or a 2-hour raid or whatever is like not really something you would normally expect from mobile. So we don't really know the deal there and what they're going to do with that. This is an alternate timeline in the sense that I think Bungie didn't want to, have to keep track of everything NetEase was going to do in this era and add it all to canon and make sure that it lines up with canon and devote a significant portion of their narrative team's time to managing this. It's an alternate timeline. And people are saying, oh, well, it's technically canon because this could be, one of the LC failed timelines, or like there's, alternate versions of Saint and there's corridors of time. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. Like it's the multiverse idea where like anything is possible and we have 3 Spider-Men and like it's the same kind of thing. So the point is like it's not continuing, or it's not like an actual precursor to current Destiny, and we can't really be like, oh, this is the origin story of this, or like this is a character from the past, or like it doesn't, none of this is going to be canon in the traditional sense, which I don't know, like it's interesting to tell new stories, I guess, but if there was a reason I would want to play this, specifically, I think it would be kind of interesting to see story components and how they do fit into Destiny, but that's not happening. So I do sort of understand that. Everyone is going to hate the monetization here. I'm not saying I know what it is because I don't have insider info, but I was talking to MTash, who plays a lot of mobile games. I'll probably do a longer conversation with him soon, but like, he's done a lot of these games. He's played a lot of NetEase games, and he's pretty convinced that this is going to be some sort of gacha model where you invest in upgrading these characters and you pull for new ones, and things like the mythic weapons are things that are kind of a staple of mobile games where, you have these different rarities and you're trying to pull this and that. And then he thinks it's going to be something like, oh, this strike, you get a 75% bonus to damage if you're this character, and like that really hurts you into being this character. And like he's seen this sort of setup before, I think, and there's only so many options for monetization here. Obviously there will be cosmetics, skins and things are a big part of any game at this point, mobile or otherwise. I think that makes sense in the context of this game. Destiny obviously sells skins and ornaments and things. But it's a mobile game. It's not going to just have that. It's going to have, probably a cash shop you can buy things directly, but I do agree it is probably going to be some level of gacha stuff, like Diablo Immortal did that with like their gems and things like that. It may not be like characters exactly, like maybe you're pulling for upgrade materials or you're just pulling for weapons and not, duplicating a character or whatever, but I would be amazed if there was not some sort of gambling-ish mechanic here, because it's just so much money left on the table. Not to say every game does this, but with the kind of game this is, with a hero game on mobile, more likely than not, I feel like I agree with them, Dash. It's probably going down that path. This will be something tons of Destiny players will complain about, and because this is nothing like we've ever seen in the main game, and it's, typical mobile monetization is the thing. And I've said before that this is a Destiny game aimed at a mobile audience rather than a mobile game aimed at a Destiny audience. I think there is going to be some level of crossover. I'm certainly going to play it and try it, and maybe I'll like it. I invested a ton in Marvel Snap, and like back in the day, I invested a ton in Marvel's Contest of Champions, which was like a gacha game. And let's not talk about Genshin Impact. So like, I'm not fully allergic to this stuff, for better or worse, probably for worse. But the idea here is like, what I heard is like this idea was mainly always supposed to be aimed at an Asian market where they are, more okay with these kind of monetizations because it's just sort of how everything is there, and mobile gaming is just enormous, like even more so than here. And like these types of games, not just like Candy Crush or whatever. And then it's at least in some sense, an onboarding to the world of Destiny, where maybe they will get some crossover. Maybe if you do like this game, maybe you want to play the non-gacha version on your PC or whatever. So I think Bungie does run a bit of a risk here because it was so out of their hands, and this is the first non like mainstream normal Destiny game. It is still their brand, and if in even if you do understand that this is purely NetEase, I think a lot of people aren't going to get that, and they're still going to just heavily attach this to Bungie. And if it's a really kind of crass mobile game with bad monetizations, and like I still think people are going to be upset at Bungie for either thinking they made it or greenlighting this in the first place. But like I think you just have to know going in that this is probably going to be something like this, and given what we've seen with Diablo Immortal and other NetEase games in the past, yeah, I think we know about what we can expect here. And like just because it's Destiny, it's not some sacrosanct series that can never be touched by more predatory microtransactions. Like it happens. And Diablo Immortal is not some like giant failure. I know that's how it debuted. Everyone was laughing at it. It debuted with really horrible microtransactions, and it still does not have great ones as far as I know. But like that game is still around. That game still makes new content. That game makes money. Like this is the world of mobile here. And even if we're all core gamers here, there's an entire world of giant mobile games out there that are some of the most profitable in the entire world. And that, NetEase, Bungie, Sony want some piece of that. I don't know what the revenue split or whatever is between all these things, like all these groups, and that's all complicated back end stuff that I don't know. But the point is like if this game is a hit, it's good for everybody. It's good for a beleaguered Bungie, or at least this new Destiny thing is doing well and it shows some health in the franchise, and then improves to Sony that Destiny is certainly worth continued investment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, I'm rooting for it to succeed, even if it's not something I personally end up playing or sticking with, even if it's something that the majority of the Destiny community is not into. If it goes over to Asia and is some big hit there, especially, and that, helps promote Destiny as a game and like helps make it healthier as kind of a franchise, what's the downside of that? Who cares? That's good news for us as Destiny players. So I don't, and especially Bungie's not like devoting loads of resources to this instead of the base game because it's NetEase. It's all NetEase doing this now at this point. I think Bungie will be even less involved now because they had some people working on it in conjunction with NetEase. But like if it starts rolling, I don't know how much they'd need to continue to devote to it over NetEase. So it's complicated. This could be a fun, good shooter on mobile. This will almost certainly have microtransactions people are not going to like, and that may affect how gameplay feels in terms of like you're not used to this kind of upgrades you need to do this kind of activity, and just free to play mobile just sort of necessitates this. I don't know. I don't imagine it's going to be the most well-received thing in the Destiny community once it's kind of all unfolded. I think the reaction so far has been not bad. I think it does look cool. Like what they showed off does seem faithful to the aesthetic of Destiny, and they showed some cool new guns and new supers and new characters and a goth girl. And so I think this isn't like the debut of Diablo Immortal where everyone is just totally trashing it. Well, I haven't looked up the like-dislike ratio on YouTube, but again, I don't think it was that poorly received. That may shift depending on how monetization goes, but like you just gotta understand that's sort of what this is, and this is probably not aimed directly at us. They're hoping that we play it, but they are trying to mainly attract a new market here. So anyway, those are my initial thoughts. We'll learn more about this soon. There's an alpha test in 2 weeks or something. I signed up for it. I don't know. Maybe I can pull rank and get guaranteed access. I don't know. We'll see. I did not get any emails about this because it's through NetEase, and like I don't talk to NetEase, so I don't know. Maybe I'll see if Bungie can hook me up. But so yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.